You are listening to the Novel Writing Podcast, episode 84. Grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. Today's episode is about letting ideas percolate. In the last episode, I talked about when we have multiple projects and actively working on stories without actually writing them. Percolating ideas means they're bubbling in the background, sometimes for decades, before they come to fruition. K.M. Weiland, the author of 10 craft books and 5 novels, famously spends an entire year researching and outlining a novel before she even writes the first draft. Some of her first drafts have happened in as little as 3 months, others have taken a full year, and those are just the first drafts. But the amount of time she spends researching and outlining means her stories are powerful, her character arcs are strong, and her plots are engaging. The stories are rich in history and detail. Not all of us have that kind of time to invest in the outlining phase, but we can let our brains work on the stories and the world building and the characters, even if we aren't actively writing something. The key is to be open to inspiration at all times and to give our minds the space and the breathing room to hear it. Here's a question for you. How often do you drive your car without the radio or a podcast or an audiobook playing? How often do you just drive in silence? Same question for exercise or walks or hikes. How often do you go on a hike and not take music with you? I used to hike with headphones in, playing podcasts at 2x speed and saturating my brain with knowledge. But something changed the more that I went hiking. I started hiking without the headphones. I started giving my brain breathing room, and suddenly I started having ideas for my books while on the trail. While I still connect my phone to the car for longer trips, I typically drive in silence. Doing so lets my brain think without the input, without the noise of the radio or the podcasts or the audiobooks. Ideas percolate faster the more space they're given. When we have silence and the opportunity to think about things, you'd be surprised the kinds of nuggets that pop into your front. You might think, where did that idea come from? Where it came from is actually less important than the fact that you had made room for it. I doubt you would have heard the stirrings of that idea had you still had headphones in or had the radio blasting in the car. We are used to noise. We are not used to silence. So if you start going on silent hikes or silent drives, you are probably going to be uncomfortable for a while. That's okay. That's the feeling of you giving your brain space. Try it and see what kinds of ideas can finally make themselves known to you. Now, we don't have to use every idea. We can have an infinite number of story ideas, but not all of them will work. That's okay. We want to let them percolate so we can figure out what to do with them. Down the line, they might fit together like puzzle pieces, but when we first have those ideas, they probably wouldn't fit together at all. The Clint Harper universe idea I've been talking about for a few episodes now is a baby idea, a very baby idea compared to Talam. It's a story or a set of stories in a universe that I'm building a world Bible for before I ever write a word of the actual story. I'm letting it simmer and capture ideas into the World Bible as they arise, being open to those ideas at the same time that I'm finishing Book 3 of the Chronicles of Talam, at the same time that I'm outlining Book 4 of the Chronicles of Talam. It's my quote-unquote other project, even though I know I'm not going to spend a lot of time writing scenes anytime soon. Sometimes the longer an idea percolates, the more you might realize that it won't work, that it doesn't fit. It was a nice idea when it came to you, but it doesn't have a place. It doesn't have a place right now. And that's fine. Let it stay in your record of ideas. Don't delete it. You never know. It might fit perfectly into a story that you write in 10 years. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining me, and remember, the first draft is supposed to be garbage. Thanks for listening to the Novel Writing Podcast. If you're ready to stop struggling and start finishing your novel, check out the 60-Day Novel Writing Challenge. It's a step-by-step program designed for solo writers to complete their first draft with clarity and focus. Visit the link in the description to learn more.